Pisces. Welcome to mid-September and to your eclipse reading. So there will be a full moon eclipse in your sign in a few days. And there is an air around this of reigniting some joy, some passion. If you're in a committed relationship, the flame burns hot once again. If you are in a situationship, it feels like both of you are on the same page. If you are single, around the eclipse, it's very possible that you may want to be a bit wild. Party a little too much, a little unconventional, in your approach to finding a partner. However, I would advise against this. No matter how much you feel caged, no matter how much you want to go out and howl at the moon, no matter how much the eclipse is shifting into the Virgo Pisces axis has you in your feelings, don't choose anybody right now. The amount of wild, the extent of wildness you will have to display to hold on to someone you meet when you're having this eclipse urge to be crazy, that will quickly turn into a difficult situation because you're not seeking from a healthy place, but because you're Pisces, if you seek it, you will find it. So there's a lack of judgment, there's confusion, but also a sense of misguided purpose. You think you're shooting arrows in the right direction, but you're not. So there's an air of confusion because your feelings want so much to express themselves. Your feelings want to be known. They always want to be known, but especially right now. If you're with someone, this particular set of cards translates to you're making points, but they're not very valid. You think you're making great points, but you're really toying with the situation, in which case you should let your better half do more of the deciding right now. You're not well equipped to make major decisions right now. The deepening of an existing relationship, the mutual attraction between two people who are already involved makes a lot of sense. You brought that person into your life when your mental was in a different place. You just want connection. Doesn't have to be love, but you just want connection. You want love. If that's the place you're coming from, if that's what you've been searching for, if that's what you found in one way or another, perfect. But if you think you're going to find it around this eclipse because you're single and you're going to go looking for it, it may start off like this, but it'll end up being something that teaches you a lesson. And we're kind of tired of learning those lessons and would rather just sit tight and have that North Node move into Pisces, where we can experience the world through our feelings again. We can be honest. We can express ourselves. We can cry, even in public. The world is very much ready for that Pisces North Node. We need it. We need your energy. So of course, you must be ready as well. That is something to wait for. That's something to believe in. That's something to be patient for. The immediacy, the urgency of what you feel now, it's just the same message over and over again. The urgency that you feel now may feel amazing, may feel the persistence of it makes you feel like this is valid. But the speed at which the other person is moving in this scenario is slow. It's so painfully slow so as to seem as if standing still. And that's not what you're looking for, and it's not what you want. But at first, for a few weeks, especially after the 26th, you could believe this and then spend from now until your birthday feeling disillusioned. Don't do it. Not in eclipse season. Please. Not when it's in your sign. Not when it's time to learn the lessons. What are the lessons? Where are your feelings deposited? How many different people out there are holding on to a little bit of your energy? How many different places would you need to call that energy back from to feel whole? How many truths would you have to tell? How many people would you have to be ruthless with? How many people would it take? How many seemingly selfish acts would it take, or words would it take, for you to get back here? Because if you think this comes out of nowhere, well, it's just not true. This Nine of Swords energy only happens when you give away that last little piece that you didn't realize you've given away. You ever had a bag of something? Okay, I'm gonna tell you like this. I went to Catholic school all my life. I'm Muslim, but I went to Catholic school. So at my school, probably like your Catholic school, they made us sell chocolates. So I took the chocolates and I was supposed to sell them. But I lived in Harlem and there was like a crack epidemic and I wasn't going to go door to door and sell them, even though everyone thought it was a good idea. I did not think it was a good idea. So I just kept them. I've actually never told anybody. I kept them. I ate them for like a year. And I had them in this bag. It was just like a bunch of chocolate bars. Like the white wrapping. Do you remember this? So I keep them. And I wouldn't like look in the bag. Now this has probably happened to you with other stuff. It happens to people with weed. You just like take some, but you don't like look at how much is left. It's just like, you know, it's a bag full of stuff. And then like soon it's not. And then soon there's like one, and like one day there's none. And you're like, ah, there was a bag full. And then I realized after I'd eaten them all, I guess it didn't take a year. I guess it just took a few months, that like somebody had to pay for them. My parents loved that. They loved that. Actually, what did I tell them? Because they were like immigrant parents that work day and night and like were never going to call the school. I told them they had to buy that much chocolate. And they said, okay. And they bought it. But then they were like, where's the chocolate? Okay. So I got in trouble. Even if, like, though I saved that part of it, I still got in trouble. Anyway. But I don't really know what that means. Because, like, even when I got in trouble, it didn't. Like, it just has never mattered to me. Yeah. It has never mattered to me. As soon as someone behaves in a way where they feel like they're entitled to pick a bone with me, I just shut off. Anyway, Vedic, Pisces, Mars, Venus, South Node. I don't care. What's the bag of chocolate about? What's this analogy? Okay, it's because your energy is like this everlasting gobstopper that you think is just gonna, you can take out of that bag and you give over here and you give over there and you give over there and you give over there and you're a good Samaritan and you're wonderful and you're lovely and you're beautiful and we all love you. And all of those things are true. You're so giving, you're so kind, you're so observant, you're so smart, you're so good with money, so good with business. Overall, just a very impressive human being. And then here you go. Even though all that stuff I just mentioned, you don't have to like be a giving person, a kind person, to the extent that you are to be called all those things. All of those things were not predicated on you giving pieces of yourself away. I hope you realize that. You're not a kind person or a giving person or a lovely person or a smart person because you give pieces of yourself away. You just are those things. But you guys like to take it a step further. You like to give pieces of yourself away. And then one day, there's like one chocolate bar left in the bag. And somebody's gotta pay. But you are the child and you are the parent. And you can lie to each other if you want to. But somebody's still gotta pay that $200. You know what I mean? This eclipse is like, pay up. And the other side of you is like, I didn't sell them. You pay up. Which is just to say, when you call all those pieces of yourself back to yourself, it feels pretty fucking good. But how do you do it? It's easy to say. Well, let's examine how you do it. I have seen a Pisces get so deep into somebody else's business that they didn't even realize that it was none of their business. 1. 2. When you care so much more about any given situation than the other person in the situation, you're keeping it afloat by cutting pieces of yourself off and giving it to that thing. Because the other person's not doing anything. 3, when you take it out on yourself and in your head you make other people better than you, those pieces go to them. Because every time you do that, you're creating this strange etheric relationship with them where they're getting energy from you and they don't even know why. You ever 4, you guys can really, really hate somebody from afar, or really be enemies with someone that may not even know your name. You can have real beef with people who don't know who you are. Ideological beef. It could be even personal, your friend, they did something to your friend and now you hate them. It could be anything like that. But that overextension of energy, even if it's in a negative way, even if it's positive as in you're trying to protect your friend, it doesn't matter. And it ties back to this concept of nazar, which I would like to speak to you about. So nazar is I'm assuming it's an Arabic word. It's also a Farsi word. It's a Hindi word. It's an Urdu word. So nazar just means your gaze. But what it also means is the evil eye. And what we say in Pakistan is that your nazar can be so strong when you love someone that it's your evil eye is worse than someone who's looking at them who hates them. The nazar of love, pyar ki nazar, is so much stronger, so much more hurtful to the person. Now let me tie that to something I saw the other day that blew my mind. An indigenous woman, I want to say Navajo, was documented as saying that she would spend a lot of time sitting with the bees. And she felt like they told her things. She felt like she understood things when she went and sat with them. So one day, she was sitting looking at the beehive. And she was really staring for hours. And a bee came out and told her to please look away. Because her consciousness was bringing too much light into the beehive. Now, through this story, I was introduced to the concept of consciousness creating light. And that where there is consciousness, there is light. That light that you have in your eyes, that conscious attention, that light of conscious attention that comes through your eyes, comes out of your heart, that's something. It's special, it's important, it's yours. And it's precious. And I wonder if you would squander it if you could put a price on it. I wonder how you would treat your attention and your emotions and how often you would react if you could actually put a price on what you're giving away. So if I were to say to you, every time you think about somebody who wasn't worth it, every time you blame yourself for what someone else did to you, every time you allow someone who's already made it clear that they do not care about how you feel to come back into your life in any respect, there goes that light. And you know why? I'm tie it back to consciousness, because when you do these things, you don't just forget about them. You sit and think about them. You sit and think about those people. You ruminate, you get sad, you cry, you get worked up. Consciousness, 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 light, light, light. Where? Going there, to them, away from you. So this eclipse, this full moon, it's like, man, it's strong, because you will learn the price of that light, and you will continue to build yourself with every new acknowledgement of how valuable that consciousness and that light and your attention really is. It will just, through this coming eclipse season that you'll have in the Virgo Pisces axis, you will learn over and over and over again how to hold yourself as precious. And the thing that you will stop doing is blaming yourself. Because the way that Virgo critical energy, the way it works on you, sure, you can turn it outward and you can be really critical and really mean. Everybody knows that about you. But I don't think they realize how mean you are to yourself. And this next eclipse season is going to teach you how not to do that. This North Node shifting into your sign, South Node shifting into Virgo, it's going to teach you how not to do that, how not to be that way, how not to take out what the world is like and does on yourself. And like I said, with every new acknowledgement and understanding and processing of what your light is, what it actually means, what your mind is able to do when you throw your energy and your intentions and your thoughts here, there, and everywhere, as you have these successive lessons, and they're positive, when you learn, when you go through these steps and learn this, the way you will hold yourself, like high regard is already something I associate with you guys. You know who you are, but it's powerful. It's something to look forward to as the people around you. We look forward to seeing you like this, because I think anyone that really loves you has already seen this in you. You have these bright, shining moments where you're just yourself, and it's very obvious that there are no tentacles on you or no like suction, like hoses on you, like everything is off of you. You know, like the Matrix, where they have it's so obvious when a Pisces is not there and they're just on their own and their energy is their own and it's just feeding them in like a feedback loop. Oh, it's wonderful. And that's, no matter how you feel right now, that's where you're heading, inshallah. So it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. But does it suck to be reminded of all the times that you should have kept your energy to yourself? Yeah. Does it suck even more to go and do something now that's not good for you and just going to add more trauma? No. It's a season of self-reflection And if you have not already committed to someone being a unit with yourself, it's very hard when you're going through these realizations to introduce a new partner into that. You know, you're trying to call all your energy back. You're trying to hold all that energy and be comfortable with holding it. It's like the way people have money limits. Like if they see a certain number in their bank account, they're like, I can spend whatever I want. Because once they hit that limit, they feel like they need to start giving it away. Because they're not allowed subconsciously to have more than that. So you reach this point where all your energy comes back to you, and then you're going to have to learn how to not have that impulse to give it away because something in you is telling you you should be here instead of here. No, you're going to stay here. We're going to keep you here. And anyone that really loves you doesn't want you leaving pieces of yourself with them. Anyone who really loves you wants you to be whole and here. They don't want to hold part of you. They don't want to cage you. They don't want to tell you how to be or who to be. Like they could. Let's look at these cards. We're going to do a little preview, and then we're going to do health and wellness, mental, physical health, career, money, big conversations about money. But we'll do that as we look at the cards. And then you'll have the preview, and then the extended will be on Patreon, Vimeo, or through PayPal. And there's also a link for private readings, and they look like this. Welcome back to Denmark. Love you. Hi Pisces, welcome to your extended. I'm excited about this. So tonight we get that first glimpse at the Pisces full moon, and into the morning we have that eclipse energy. So I wanted to talk to those of you who are single as we take a little look at the cards in this preview. You may feel the need, you may feel pushed to be a little bit reckless. It will appear to you as a thirst for adventure, a little taste of danger. But the consequences are so extreme. I wonder if what you're actually looking for is, I wonder if you're checking for a pulse. Single Pisceans can go into like cryogenic freeze. You know how they show in the space films? People are in cryo sleep. And you're starting to come out of that cryo sleep, and it's beautiful, but it's a little bit scary to the point where you may feel like maybe the best thing to do is to face that fear in the most obvious way by jumping into something even more fearful, but you are covering it by feigning this need for stimulation. I think you're stimulated enough. I think that there is a sense of urgency to this full moon. It makes you want to be around somebody. And so if you're committed and you're younger, you want to spice things up. If you're committed and you're older, you want to do relaxing, healing, bonding things together. If this is a relationship between you and your friends and family, and it's more, that's the focus, you find yourself today, tomorrow, and into actually the next 6 or 7 weeks having some what at first appeared to be really strange conversations because you didn't expect to be having them. Oh, I see a mosquito. I'm so sorry. 1 second. Sorry about that. So there are certain things, might be years old, that you have thought, I'm never going to be able to talk about this, or the person with whom this interaction happened or that memory exists, they'll never want to speak about this. It's too painful, too far in the past. Maybe they were too young to remember. Maybe you're too young to remember. It could be all kinds of reasons why you never thought that this particular conversation, these sets of conversations, these moments, they start mundane. You're driving in your car and driving your kid to school, or you and your partner are heading out somewhere to do some daily activity or some chores or something. And on the most ordinary of days, in the most ordinary of ways, a conversation begins that ends up being extraordinarily healing. And I think the key when these conversations begin, the key to getting the most out of them, is simply to not jump. Don't let yourself be triggered as the information comes out. None of it is directed at you anyway. People just want to express themselves. And I think if you're quiet and you're patient and you let people express their feelings, even if what they're saying is, I don't feel anything, or I don't remember, or I wish I could remember, it doesn't matter. If you allow them their confusion, if you allow them their confession, if you allow them to not necessarily make total sense, you know how irritated you can get when people can't articulate their feelings? If you allow them their wonkiness in expressing themselves, I think there are nuggets of gold that you'll find in those conversations that put to rest things that have been gnawing at your conscience. Instances perhaps that you felt guilty for. Instances that perhaps you feel responsible, or people you perhaps felt responsible for. And it's sudden and it happens in the everyday, and it can leave such a profound, lasting, healing effect on you that as you come out of mid-October and into early November, there are some burdens that are removed, and you feel the lightness of that. Now, of course, you can choose to fill that space back up right away, if you want. But I can always tell the state of my mind by how uncluttered and clean the open surfaces in my house are. The table, the kitchen counter, etc. Of course, the desire and sometimes bad habit is there, that as soon as it's clean, to once again clutter it with things. And in the same way, as you are relieved of these burdens, some of them very old, as healing takes the space of guilt and leaves open space, the urge will be there to fill it with something, especially something damaging, i.e. exciting. And you have the choice. Maybe you want a little adventure. Maybe you want a little danger. But the consequences are heavy for that dalliance. But of course, you're still welcome to it. It's just that maybe if you hold on to the empty space for a little while, maybe you'll like the feel of it after you get over the unfamiliar nature of it. Because you do stay full up, don't you? All the way to the top. Maybe it would be a relief to lessen that pressure a little bit. And I can hear you laughing somewhere in the ether. Ha ha ha. What do you know about the pressure of the deep, dark ocean? Not much. I'm a Cancer rising. Not much. We live in the tide. But I do know that it has to be an enormous amount of pressure. And although cancers can get picked up by the waves and thrown around, the pressure of the deep is unending. It persists in a way that's terrifying. A little respite from that wouldn't be bad, would it? And the cool thing about empty space is that nature abhors a vacuum. Sooner or later, something meaningful will fill that space, especially if you don't jump the gun. And if you don't try to willingly fill that space from a place of ego and, let's just be honest, a kind of carnal want. That carnal lust can really get you right now. Virgo season, Libra season, at one time used to be one season. And it is a time where one can compromise their self-esteem to get what they think will make them feel whole. But I feel like that's a lesson we've just gotten done learning. So we can sit this out, right? Let's talk more about that, and let's talk about money. We have a lot to talk about in terms of money and the mental health and wellness bit. Just because it's a full moon is a longer conversation. So we'll do that in the rest of the extended. I love you. Thank you for watching the preview. If you'd like to see the rest of this reading, the links are below. There's a Patreon link, a Vimeo link. On that Patreon link, you can become a subscriber, or you can just buy the video outright. If you're going to buy the video outright, please don't use the app. Please just go on a website and do it. You can always go back and watch it on the app once you've bought it. It's just cheaper, that's why. Like, Apple charges like an exorbitant amount to use any app, I guess. Okay, so there's that. And there's also a PayPal link that sends the video direct to your inbox. And there's a personal reading link, which is very popular these days. I'm sure it's because there's so many Virgo and Libra birthdays coming up. But also I think it makes a great gift. There's been more and more people getting like gifts for their family and friends, like getting a reading as a gift. So I can record it and send it to them, which is dope. Okay, all right.